Welcome to the Locked In Baseball Podcast. I'm William Locke. He is Luis Barranco. Team Venezuela has defeated Team USA to win the 2026 WBC. It's a disappointing night, Luis, for us. I got to say, if you don't have any thoughts there, I'm more disappointed than I thought I was going to be. I came into this tournament not knowing what to expect, not sure how much I was going to care. I'm pretty disappointed.
It felt like I was watching a freaking Yankees game in the middle of freaking July or June. God, freaking
October.
Dude, the AL East tonight was a freaking choke artist. The AL East talk about it as the best division in baseball. The AL East choked it out tonight. Garrett Whitlock, Aaron Judge. You can put Alex Bregman into it because he most recently played for the Red Sox. I mean, what type of a thing? I mean, Mark DeRosa, I don't want to see you managing this team in 3 years. If Mark DeRosa is managing this team in 3 years, I will actively root against him, and I'll root for the Czech Republic in the next World Baseball Classic. I swear. How in the name of look, I understand pitching matchups, but we made Eduardo Rodriguez look like prime Greg Maddux. He was spamming fastball, cutter, changeup, all the corners.
Bro,
like a prime central block team.
He only the craziest part was he only threw 57 pitches because of whatever pitch limitations for his MLB team.
We looked like a prime Yankees team in June or a prime White Sox team in the middle of July. Like, it was abysmal. Aaron Judge, we go 2 strikeouts and ground outs. I mean, terrible showing. Don't want to hear any propaganda right now. I'm mad. Like, it's like literally, we had Paul Skeens start, man. Paul Skeens. What do we have? Nothing tonight. Let's blame Nolan McLean tonight when he was literally in the zone. You can blame, like, what do you mean? A wild pitch is the difference between 1 run and no runs, and then he gave up a homer. Like, what are you supposed to do when you have a team full of all-stars and you can't score more than 2 runs? You deserve to freaking lose the ball game. Oh, my God, man. Like, literally, and what DeRosa, Griffin Jacks, give himself a round of applause for the time. We're just going to pull him after 8 pitches. I'm sorry. I understand there's roles, but sometimes you just got to ride the hot hand. It's like, sometimes you have that one spot you go to and you always, hit the jackpot in terms of food.
I don't want to defend DeRosa because I don't think he should be back as manager in 2029 or 2030. I don't think it's been announced when the next one actually is taking place. DeRosa is going to get a lot of flack for the way he managed this tournament. And I will say some of that is deserved. Certainly the whole debacle with the Italy thing, not knowing the rules or allegedly not knowing the rules, was a bad look. That said, we don't know and we don't see what's going on behind the scenes with all the politicking going on with all the MLB teams telling DeRosa and his pitching staff how many pitches they can throw on any given night, when they can be inserted into the game. I do think we have to give him a little bit of grace with that in mind. That said, it wasn't a good tournament for him. He didn't really do anything that I can remember that stood out as awful in 2023. This was a bad tournament for DeRosa. I think they should look elsewhere in 29 or whatever, because you have the stark contrast of Omar Lopez for Venezuela, who we saw how emotional he was after the game, saw how much it meant to him. Dude was a freaking genius this whole tournament. He pulled these strings for that bullpen. He was great.
It's what we call being a proactive manager. Proactive, not a reactive manager. He stuck by his guns, and he was not afraid to take the bulls by the horns. He saw the other game against Japan. He was like, you know what, Ranger, you given us enough tonight. I trust my pen. And we had DeJesus go ballistic in that one. This tonight only gave Erod 57 pitches, which, I mean, Erod's a friend starter in this league on a mid-level team. Pulled him at 57 and with a reduced bullpen, because they played last night, which is even more embarrassing that they played last night. They still stunk it up tonight and let these dudes look. We looked like electricians tonight. contractors out there building a stadium in the middle of Texas. Like
The
Jesus.
lineup was non-existent. I don't like. There's really not much of a story besides that tonight. You got to give credit to Venezuela for the timely hitting. Eugenio Suarez, the double in the ninth. Wilyer Abreu.
I mean, why did we even take? I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic. You're talking Venezuela. I don't care about Venezuela right now. Why did we bring Tim Hill? Why was he called up on the roster?
Why was Jeff Hoffman?
Why is Jeff Hoffman even all right? Bro, he just got a free vacation in Miami for a couple days, man. And you know what sucks for Jeff Hoffman? It rained every single day, so he couldn't even enjoy the good weather. Now we got to go back to freaking Canada. Like, it's just like, this is just ridiculous. I mean, Cal Raleigh, you stunk it up. Bregman, I don't know how Cubs fans feel after that, but I know it's a small sample size, but Bregman was not good at the plate. Ernie Clement wishes he was in Canada. Might as well take away his passport. Paul Goldschmidt.
What was he doing on the roster?
Bryce Terang was whiffing that air at the at-bats. I know he had that one game, a couple good games, but man, when it's crunch time, and I know it's a results-driven business, and it stinks because we're deeming him off. What have you done for me lately? It was not great tonight. And another one of DeRosa's decisions tonight was Byron Buxton. I understand he wanted to go do the matchups, and I defended it pregame. I was working tonight. I worked late, tough day at work. I defended it. I was like, you know what? You got to go with the matchups. You got to break the lefty train. I understand what you're doing, but the fact is that at the 6th inning, you decided to hop off the train, which I understand. That's a little bit too early to my liking. Like chasing the game at the 6th inning, looking desperate in the 6th inning. Like that's like coming out of halftime and throwing the kitchen sink. Again, I think that was too early. Should not have done that. And man, oh man, I don't know. This team just really fell short of expectations. Again, as we said earlier in the previews and in the games, the bats really were not present for Team USA at all throughout the series. They only showed up against lower level competition, which congratulations, you've beat lower level competition. But when you actually face real legitimate MLB comp or legitimate professional competition, and for example, Machado came in great in the 8th inning, did a really good job.
He's playing in he gave up the home run.
But he was still great.
He's playing in Japan or Korea. Yeah.
Japan. And the other thing is, it's like, why do we keep finishing in second place? Like, I don't care if we've gone to 3 straight. We finished second twice in a row. We are the United States of America. This is America's pastime. And we consistently finish second in the game that we call our pastime. Something's got to change. It's time for I don't know. I look at the coaching staff, DeRosa, it's time to go. A lot of these guys, again, really good MLB players and coaches, but I think it's time to reorganize the staff and get a new staff in for 2029.
I think it should be like a retired manager.
AJ Hinch should be the manager. I will slam my hands on the table. AJ Hinch 2029. Let's do it. Because what retired manager are you thinking of that can take it?
I don't know. I'd have to do more thinking.
I mean, maybe Aaron Boone's going to come out. That would be the most Team USA thing. It seems like we're looking at the Yankees. It looked like a Yankees game out there.
It felt like a Yankee playoff game. It did. Now all of American baseball fans understand what it's like watching the Yankees in the playoffs. I mean,
I'm sorry. It was just terrible.
3 hits tonight on the tournament. 15 runs against Brazil, 9 runs against Great Britain. Congratulations. Half those guys are in minor leagues or foreign leagues. I don't really count those games.
Or they're working construction jobs, electricians. I'm not saying that as a joke. It's legitimately serious. They're electricians.
They scored 5 against Mexico in a game that the offense was pretty stagnant. And then in the knockout stage, they didn't blow Canada out of the water, a team that they should have handled. They won 5-3. The DR game was only 2-1. And offense wasn't really doing that much that game. They really easily could have lost that game, if we're being honest. The Team DR had ample opportunities, went 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position in that tournament. And then tonight, really one swing got them the 2 runs that they scored. Bryce Harper, which was an electric moment. I thought they were going to go on and win from there. Unfortunately, that will probably be forgotten in the annals of baseball history because Eugenio Suarez came in. Garrett Whitlock's changeup was not working. I think there was it was like the 3-1 pitch before that. Whitlock left a just changeup that was a fluttering middle third. I can't believe Eugenio didn't.
Middle in. It was
Oh,
flat. I thought when he hit it, I thought it was. I was like, oh boy, that's a Eugenio Suarez thing I've seen at Great American. I
yeah, I
was like,
thought.
that thing's going to the warning track at least.
Yeah, I thought he was going to turn on that one. Then turns on the next pitch. I mean, it's frustrating, obviously, as an American fan, but I got to say, like, again, credit to Venezuela, the manager. I thought he had an incredible tournament. The fans brought the energy again, as we knew it was a home game for Venezuela. I'm happy for the fans. I'm happy for the Venezuelan players. Like, they deserve it. It felt like we talked about it a little bit on the episode last week. Like, it felt like they cared a little bit more than Team USA. The USA was just stiff. In Venezuela, I was watching the pregame show. Like, there was a lot of cutscenes, and they just looked freaking loose. They were taking photos. They were just vibing. Team USA, a little bit too serious. I don't know. I don't know how much it matters. There's a lot we can get into with like this whole tournament that I do want to get into. The optics.
That's another pod, but like I'm gonna point a couple of things out. Point of things out. I don't want to lose a couple performances tonight. I want to give out some medals tonight. Some medals of honor tonight. Nolan McLean, take a bow. The sweeper was working tonight. I understand he gave up 2 runs and he gave up the homer to Willier, and the wild pitch, did end up doing it. But the sweeper was working tonight. The control was there. Everything was there. His arsenal was there. It's unfortunate that he, his lineup let him down. But I would like to give him a medal of honor tonight, and I'm very excited to what's to come this season on the Mets. Yeah. I will be tuning into Mets games this year, and Nolan McLean, get ready. You're going to be wearing my fantasy team uniform this season.
Yeah, he's going to be good for the Mets this year. Mets fans should be excited about him.
I'm gonna give an honor to him. David Bednar, for this tournament, you also get a medal. I understand you did give up some traffic, but you also get a medal of honor.
He likes to make it interesting.
Yeah. 2 other dudes that will get medals for me in the bullpen, Griffin Jacks, great performance tonight and great performance against DR. I think only both nights he was on under 10 pitches. So congratulations. You look like you're back to normal after getting pinated out in Tampa last year after the trade deadline. You will be getting a medal on my behalf. And then Tyler Rogers pitched great tonight and the other night. So
shout out to Tyler Rogers. He came in for the knockout stage, pitched 2 pitches against Dominican Republic and 5 pitches tonight for a grand total of 7 pitches. But he did his job. He pitched a full inning on the tournament in 7 pitches. So he gets a medal for me too.
Those are all my medals. None of the hitters get medals. I don't care. Maybe Gunner. You're not of deserving. Again, I felt a lot of the middle infield defense with Terang and Witt. I understand they're Gold Glovers. They left a lot on the table, and I just felt like the whole Team USA position players let us down. They let their nation down. For as much as they want to wear the flag, they let this nation down.
What Gunner should be platoon proof, in my opinion.
Yeah, he should.
Bregman didn't give us anything tonight, and
hasn't given us anything all tournament like that.
No, like none of these hitters did. Roman had some decent at bats tonight. I thought the walk was good. Like he has a Soto level eye, man. I'm telling you, this dude is special. Hit the home run against the Dominican Republic, the game winner. I actually, when he was up in the 9th, I felt pretty good about it. I thought he was going to get a hit. Sure enough, he struck out for the last out of the game. But I feel good about him moving forward. Harper, 2 for 4 on the game, obviously hit the home run. I was ready to have a conversation about how I didn't really understand why he was hitting second. I thought Judge, maybe you could have put him second, but dude, Judge was terrible tonight. And unfortunately, like that narrative is going to continue to get pushed out there that this guy can't play in the big game when obviously he was great in the playoffs last year. But there have been many moments of him just coming up short and not showing up in the big moments. It's just going to be part of the narrative with that guy until he wins a World Series.
It's like when LeBron couldn't hit the game winners in Cleveland, and then once he started hitting them, it was always about the championships. But again, I don't agree with the lineup. Gunner's platoon proof. I understand the proof. I mean, look, when you're picking between Alex Bregman and Gunner Smith, you're picking between California apples and Granny Smith apples. Like
Gunnar Henderson.
it's yeah, it's picking what apple you like the most.
They
Like
moved away.
at this point, when you have like these type of players, it's just personal preference. It's the margins are very thin, and that's what it came down tonight. Very fine margins. You look at let's talk dive into Venezuela tonight. Again, Omar Lopez making some big boy decisions, playing the proactive manager. Javier Sanoja, not known for a base stealer,
Yeah.
stole a base that honestly, I can argue with you. If Will Smith makes a better throw on target, I do think that Javier Sanoja is out at second, and it's a completely different game where Eugenio Suarez is hitting with nobody on base, and it probably changes his approach. Maybe like we talked about the changeup that he got. Maybe his whole goal in that at bat, which for as bad as at bats that he had in this WBC, and we've seen him have in the past, that was a professional at bat. He didn't try to do too much. He didn't try to hit the home run. He just tried to put the ball in play and put it in play and brought the runner home. And
Yeah.
I think we have to look at that play where if Will Smith makes a better throw at second, he's gone down.
And I said to myself, I was like, this is kind of the guy you want up in this situation, just because it was second, runner on second, no outs. He's a guy that strikes out a lot. Obviously, you want the strikeout in that situation. I thought he was a good guy to have up. I think it was a 3-2 count, full count, and he put a bat on a ball, and yeah, that was that. I got to give him credit. He proved me wrong.
But I mean, he didn't do too much. Now, what do you think about that Will Smith throw? Do you think if it was a better throw, like online throw, he would have gotten him out?
I can't remember. It was like slightly a little short.
It was a little bit off. Like Terang didn't have to move. I can't remember who was on second. If it was Terang or Win, but he didn't have to move that much. But he had to extend. Like the throw was good.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Throw.
It was also, to be fair to Sanoja, it was a good slide.
Yeah, well, but I do feel if it's more on target, like on the money.
Yeah, and Smith, I mean, he had that weird pass ball against the DR in that game, and then had another pass ball tonight. That was more of a wild pitch, but he maybe could have gotten to it, whatever inning that was, early in the game. I don't know. Who's your player of the tournament? I don't know if they give.
My player for Venezuela has to be Danny Palencia. Cubs closer. I mean, he was the most dominant closer and reliever this tournament. I mean, when he came on, it was curtains. I mean, he was coming in throwing 99. Shout out again, Omar Lopez doing the negotiating in the back room with the Cubs, because the Cubs did say that they didn't want him pitching that night because he pitched last night, and then he pleaded like, hey, please, please, please. And he was like, only in save opportunities, and they got their chance, It was a much interesting game. And they were talking on the telecast. Smoltz was saying Venezuela did not want to go into a game with the United States in extra innings because they just did not have the resources to go into an extra innings game with how depleted the bullpen. I didn't really hear. I know they talked about it on telecast. I didn't catch it, but I know Omar Lopez was dealing with a lot of politics in the background where, because of last night's game and the amount of relievers that they used, they didn't have a lot of guys available. I did hear De Jesus was not available. Tigers did not make him available tonight, and he was fantastic in Japan against Japan. And they didn't have other guys were limited to certain roles by their MLB teams. So for Omar Lopez to manage the tournament the way he did, and number two, manage the circumstances that he did with the politics, he gets a gold star in my book. And I think he's one of the most unsung heroes when we look back at this World Baseball Classic. And it brings up the question to me. I feel like managing a World Baseball Classic is much more difficult than managing an MLB game with all the politics that you have, with the facts that, you got teams saying this guy can only pitch this guy can only pitch this amount of pitches or at bats. I mean, you saw Omar Lopez literally just patchwork the tournament. And, you got to give him props for, with the resources that he had, number one, that isn't on par with teams like DR and the United States and Japan. Well, I mean, Japan's debatable, but with the resources that he had, number one, and two, managing the politics.
Yeah, I know. I give him a lot of credit. There was a lot of pressure on him too. He thought about not doing this because the whole country was obviously gets super into this thing, and there's just a ton of pressure. Like we don't really see that as American fans because yes, of course, there's pressure on Team USA, but I don't think it's at the levels of Venezuela, like what Venezuela was experiencing. So credit to him, not only managing the politics, managing the pitching staff, but also managing like just the pressure that came with this thing. They were not favored to win the tournament coming in. People had Japan, the United States, and Dominican Republic all above Venezuela, but they played. I mean, they beat the defending champions. Then they beat the unsung heroes of the tournament, and then they beat the United States, the team that most people viewed as the favorite heading into this thing. So most people do not view this team as the most talented in terms of just pure roster construction baseball team in the world. But a large part of them winning this thing, in my opinion, is just how great their manager was. And I believe he's the bench coach for the Astros. I think there's a very good chance we see him in those managerial talks after the season ends.
Yeah, I mean, he did a great job, and I think a lot of thing too is also getting buy-in from the players. And when you have star players, like a lot of these players on Venezuela are mostly their best players on their respective MLB rosters, or one of the best players. And for those players to, number one, buy into the program and the culture that he's built up for Team Venezuela, and number two, leave your egos at the door and come together to band as one and compete at a high level. And it wasn't like they won these games by wide margins. They ended up coming in and banding together and coming up and rallying in a lot of games. They rallied against the Italy game, they rallied against the Japan game, and tonight again they rallied. So they were the underdogs in 2 of the 3 games, and they came together and won the game. So I feel like this team had a lot of fight in them, and it all comes down from the big man up top. So Omar Lopez, again, I cannot speak more highly enough. And again, we got to talk about the pitching staff for Venezuela. A lot of these guys were not really known to us, and they all showed out. Like we said, Daniel Palencia, you're looking really good for this season. I mean, I feel like if I'm a Cubs fan, I'm very excited to see him in the North Side this season.
I was muted. Guys like Machado, DeJesus, all had great seasons. Angel Zerpa, who just got traded to Milwaukee, I believe, this winter. He was good. Jose Butto, whatever. Was on the Mets. He was good. The pen was just a highlight for this team this year, or this tournament, whatever. The manager, like a rise. Wilyer Abreu hit the home run tonight. He had a great tournament. I don't know if they are giving out an MVP for this thing, but maybe you give it to Wilyer. I don't know who you give it to because it was really a team effort. They didn't even really play guys like Wilson Contreras. Salvi got the start behind the dish tonight. It wasn't William Contreras. Like Jackson Churio really didn't do much this tournament. He was 0 for 3 tonight with 2 strikeouts. So like he's the kind of up and coming dude that could be kind of the bridge to the future for this team. Like there's reasons to be optimistic for 2029. Michael Garcia is still there. Acuna will still be there in 29. So it's a good, obviously a good baseballing nation, and they really just put it all together this tournament after that loss to DR in the group stage.
All right, I think fans like a lot of this. Let's look forward. Let's look at Team USA. I think that's a bigger story point. Let's go in the catchers. Who's coming back? Are we bringing back Cal and Will next tournament?
How old's Will Smith? Like 30, 32?
Will Smith is 30.
30? Yeah, he should be back. Cal, we'll see what he does over the next few seasons. He had a bad tournament, and if he has a bad couple years, no, he won't be back. Could be looking at guys like Drake Baldwin, Shea Langoliers. He's got a lot of good young catchers in the league. Carter Jensen is a name to monitor for 2029. So I don't think both of those catchers will be back now.
I think the whole infield, barring Gunnar Henderson and Bobby Witt, are back or locks. I don't think Bregman, Clement, Goldschmidt, Harper, and Terang are back next tournament. I think Terang's the only one that could be back. But again, there'll be a lot of competition at second base in the future for that tournament.
Yeah, Witt and Gunnar will be back. Those are the locks. But other than that, yeah, I don't know.
Outfield, I think Roman's a lock.
Mhm.
PCA 50-50
Yeah.
and Judge 50. I would say 70-30
In favor or
in 70 and 30 out.
what is he like 33? Yeah. Be 3 years, 34, is he? Maybe.
And then
Maybe.
Kyle Schwarber's not back for sure.
No, he's gone.
And then I think a lot of the pitching staff will not be back. I think the only guys that probably stay is locks is probably Skeens, and I'll go on a hill and say Nolan McLean.
Yeah. Joe Ryan didn't get to play because he was injured, but maybe he'll give it a go next time. Skeens or Scooble, we know Skeens will be there for sure. Scooble said he wants to do the Olympics in 2028 and wants to participate in the next WBC. He'll also have a contract by then. So I think he will be back. And then who knows? Like there could be some guy we've never even heard of at this point. If you told me 3 years ago that Paul Skeens would be our best pitcher, I wouldn't have believed you. So
You know who'll be the Team USA's number 2 starter next tournament?
who?
Kent Flittler.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Did you see the list that they posted up on Twitter before the game of guys that Team USA tried to recruit but did not come? That list being Dylan Cease, Sonny Gray, Andrew Abbott, Max Fried, Garrett Crochet. Those are the bigger ones that I saw on the list that I remember talking to my head. I bet you a lot of those 5 didn't get brought because of the insurance concerns. I can see Abbott with the injuries last year. Crochet's dealt with injuries in his career, and maybe he was a little insurance. I mean, I think less of the insurance. I think it was more of a personal decision.
Mhm.
And Max Fried, I mean, I don't want to say anything about Max Fried because of opinions of his play in bigger stages.
Yeah. He's not, I mean, the playoff numbers aren't good with Freed. Yeah, and I think kind of the one thing working against the WBC is the whole narrative around like the pitchers and just they're not ramped up at this point in the season. So it adds this weird dynamic of it's like this huge, feels like game 7, like World Cup final type of event. But you also have your starters that have all pitchers have these strict limits that are being set out from their major league teams. So I feel like it does take away from the tournament a little bit. That's the one thing that needs fixing with this thing. That said, there's a lot of people out there saying that, well, why can't you play the WBC in July? It's fun in March, but it's not the optimal time to play it. And I would kind of push back on that and say, I don't think there really is an optimal time to play the WBC because if you do move this thing into July, there's a few things you have to take into account. Number one, it's not just an MLB event. Like there are players from leagues all around the world. So if you do it in the MLB All-Star break, that's great for MLB players, but you're asking for players from all over the world, the NPB in Japan, KBO in Korea, amongst others, to just drop what they're doing to play in this thing and fly across the world to the United States. Their All-Star weeks do not align with MLBs right now. Also, you're going to have more injured players in July than March. Of the teams that played in the championship on Tuesday night, a good percentage of them are going to be on the injured list during the All-Star break. Another point, yes, pitchers will be more built up in July, but it would be tough with starting pitchers pitching every 5th day or so. How do you work out that timing to where guys pitch on their given, like their scheduled days? I think there would still be issues with the timing for pitching if you did it in July. Another point, players are kind of just fresher and more excited for the season in March than they are in the middle of the summer. And that kind of tying into that, like the players could use a break around the All-Star break, just take some time off from playing versus playing high intensity baseball. I do think having it in March as like a prelude to the season builds hype, builds anticipation for the MLB season. Obviously, these are extremely meaningful games for the players, the fans, and all that. I think March is probably the best time to do it, but it's also not perfect.
Yeah. But again, I think we're getting to a point with this tournament, which, we went from a couple of years ago where we were begging for players to participate, and now players want to be a part of it. And, it goes to show you that we see the United States Avengers team show up. I mean, this is the best United States teams we can see. And, for the guys that weren't home, that stayed home, which was Courtney Carroll, He was
Injured.
hurt. Garrett Crochet again. Like, it's tough to bring. You just can't bring like the 10 best American pitchers because why would Max Fried want to be the 8th best pitcher on the roster?
And like interrupt his spring training and all that stuff.
And become a relief pitcher for 2 weeks. That just doesn't make sense. So it's just that's a big point.
Yeah, and to your point, the WBC has absolutely like established itself as a legitimate tournament now versus when this thing first started, players didn't really take it seriously. The main players weren't joining this tournament for their national teams. They were staying with their MLB teams in spring training. But now, like you said, we've had all of these, the top MLB players from Team USA, full buy-in, Venezuela, DR, all these guys are fully buying in the tournament to where this tournament has to establish itself as a legitimate brand. Again, the only thing that's working against it right now, in my opinion, is the pitching limitations. So I really do think like the sky is the limit for this tournament. I mean, we saw the viewership this year. The viewership was incredible. Fox was breaking WBC viewership records. Like the viewership for the USA DR game was comparable to NBA Finals matchups from last June. So people love this stuff. Like fans, we saw the passion in the stands. We saw the TV viewership. We saw the players really care. The players had buy-in. So I think the sky's the limit for this thing. Can it it needs to get to the point where players are taking this thing as seriously as like the World Cup in soccer, to where Tarek Skubal shouldn't be skipping the WBC to pitch an opening day because the WBC final should be more important than opening day. And you ask any soccer player, what would they rather play in, the World Cup final or Premier League opening day? They're taking World Cup final 100 times out of 10.
Or what's more important, a gold medal, a Team USA gold medal, or a World Cup gold medal? That's just the nature of the beast. Another thing I would like to point out is you talk about Tarek Skubal. I mean, I think what this tournament needs is better storylines. I think that's like the next step in this tournament. I feel like what a lot of what brought, we talk about a lot about with NHL, with the Four Nations tournament, and we talk about how Olympic hockey is that it has good rivalries. I feel like USA doesn't have good rivalries. Like, yes, there's the USA DR, but that's a manufactured rivalry. We need the players to like actually get into it and have, some sort of, toxicity, and the good toxicity, and not the toxicity where we see players, fighting against each other, but we need that good competitive spirit. And that's, I think, what's the next step in this tournament. Like if we can get, some good storylines coming into the tournament against nations, I feel like it would be great. Like for us, you two, we're ball knowers. And, for me, I was thinking about, Venezuela was coming back for revenge for what happened in WBC where Trey Turner hit that home run shot that we were at. So I feel like we remember that. But like to the casual fan who watches these games, every 3 years or tunes into a random, game in July in the middle of the summer, like they don't know these storylines. They don't know. They only know probably Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. If it was better, like, oh, Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge got beef, or like they're throwing each other. Like that's what made Yankees Red Sox so great. You would tune in and it was a drama. It's like a TV show, and that's what I think the tournament needs next for it to like take that next level into levels.
I think that's a good point. And hopefully as the years progress and we get more tournaments under our belts, like those will start to form. That the problem is like international soccer, they have a lot of other tournaments like the Euros, the Copa America, to like build up those rivalries, where in the WBC, it's really just this every 3 years. They don't have other tournaments.
Olympic baseball's coming. I think
That's
the
true.
other thing,
That's true.
I think the other thing too that kind of hurts it too, and this is just hopefully this happens as we the baseball classic and MLB and professional leagues and us as baseball media, we need to grow the game. I do feel like what brings a lot of people together and makes the tournaments great is that when you see the little Cinderella run, that you see those little small teams, fight to the top and make it to the end. Again, the Italian national team was a great story for this tournament, but when you look at the underbelly of this team, they're all kids from Jersey. It's all kids from Jersey. They're not true Italians. And I feel like what makes like tournaments like the World Cup great is when you see a team like a couple of years ago, you see Ghana and they were robbed by Luis Suarez's handball in the box. You see that little small team make the run. Again, you also see like in March Madness, now that we're in March, you see teams of the George Masons, the Butlers of the world that make the runs deep into the tournament. And you see the Gonzagas, the small schools that go against the UNCs and Dukes and end up beating the big teams. And I mean, yes, Italy did beat Team USA, but again, it was a watered down Team USA team that game. And again, the Italian team was a bunch of kids from Jersey. No disrespect. That's how it was.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And I think Vinny Pasquantino actually said, or one of the Italian players said after the game last night that they lost in the semis, that one day they would love to see the Italian team made up of fully players that were born and raised in Italy. And I completely agree. Like the one nation that wasn't really good in this tournament, but has done a good job of growing the game in their country is the Czech Republic. Obviously, we have like the Koreas, the Japans, the Venezuelas, the DRs, like the established baseballing nations that do, they have their leagues, they're established, but the teams like the Brazils, the Great Britons, the
Kingdom of Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
The Kingdom of Netherlands.
The Netherlands. Those guys are like mostly from Curacao and Aruba.
Yeah.
Canada's done a good job of growing the game of baseball in their country. But like, and obviously Puerto Rico is still very much a legitimate baseballing nation. Cuba too, but they have the politics behind it. But like the countries like Australia, Czech Republic, China Taipei, I guess, has a baseballing identity. But like some of the worst teams, because there's only 20 teams in this tournament, like some of the bottom feeders, if they continue to grow the game in their country, yeah, this thing will only get better.
And one point I want to make too, sorry to interrupt, but
that's okay.
One of the biggest points I do have to make is like we're not wanting Chinese Taipei and Australia and like the Brazils of the world to become like United States and DRs. We just want them to have respectable talent in the sense that, yes, there could be a talent gap, but it's not like, again, it's not electricians and plumbers against professionals.
Yeah, to where they have like their own established baseballing culture. They can field a team of 9 players that are all from their country and not just transplants.
Or professional guys that, that they play some level of professional, if that's indie league ball, if that's some sort of minor league, Korean league, or Japanese league, or even the majors.
And I'm not faulting any of the American guys or whatever nationality they are to go play for other nations. I'm just, because like I would have the opportunity to play for the Netherlands because I was born there. And if I wasn't good enough to play for Team USA, I would absolutely go play for the Netherlands. The point is that I'm making is just they have to, or they don't have to, but like it'd be good if these countries can establish and grow the game, make it more global. Like we see the NBA is increasingly global. The NFL is trying. Baseball is there in some countries, but in other countries it's just not there. Like cricket is bigger in India and the Great Britain. Like that's a sport that MLB has to compete with globally. So I do think, as much as I don't really like them per se, because they take away games from the United States, I think you should try more international games in unique countries, just different ways to grow the game. But like this tournament it's the best, man. I mean, it's the perfect way to start a season. Now we got a full 162 starting next Wednesday. I'm hyped. Yeah, it was a good tournament, and I think it's only up from here.
Can I ask you a question to close the pod?
Absolutely.
Does Team Italy win last night if Anthony Volpe is the starting shortstop?
Fully healthy? Maybe. That thought crossed my mind. The other day, I was like, if Anthony Volpe was healthy, is he the starting? Like, is he playing for Italy? Probably, right?
I would be able to play for 4 nations.
DR, Puerto Rico, Mexico, U.S.
Yep. Dominican grandmother, mom's from Mexico, born in Puerto Rico, USA. Yep. So, hey, I probably wouldn't make one of the teams at all.
If you were top player, what would the pecking order be?
Probably USA.
And then
probably Puerto Rico, Mexico, and DR last because I have the least allegiances to DR.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
yeah, it
fair.
would be cool, but like, yeah, it'd be like Austin Wells. But yeah,
Austin Wells. I hope he brings the energy to the Yankees this year. It's got to be
I just,
weird for some of these guys going from the WBC back to their like spring training camps for the next week before the season starts.
I just hope, and to close this, I just hope it brings good energy to the MLB season. I hope, we see this type of vibes to the season. I know the season is a grinder, it's 162, but just give us some juice to start off the season. Give us something good.
I was thinking like the fans should also bring some juice to the stadium. And we saw what Venezuela and DR brought to those crowds in Miami. Like Cubs fans, let's I'm not a Cubs fan, but I live in Chicago. Like let's start chanting Ponche when Palencia is up there trying to close out a game.
I think you guys are y'all's thing is beer snakes at 2 o'clock on Friday afternoons. So
Absolutely.
I think
Friday at 120.
I think y'all should just stick to that one, my guy. Like, let's leave that for the Venezuelans. Let's not be Drake and culture appropriate.
Okay. Hey, 15 degrees here in Chicago today and opening days in a week. So
It's raining
love
and
it.
70 degrees here in Miami. So,
Well, you guys got a dome. So
and the Americans lose.
did they hand out an MVP? I don't think they did.
It's cool. But thank you guys for listening tonight. Really do appreciate you guys following the WBC. Again, new MLB season next week. We're going to be doing 2 pods a week for the foreseeable future. Tap in with us on Twitter /X. Slap in on Instagram and also YouTube.
Yep. Hit that sub button, hit that follow button on the socials. Full season of MLB on the way. We are super excited. Thanks for the support throughout the WBC. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Hope you enjoyed our in-stadium content for the tournament. I'm very bummed right now, and I do think that's a good thing. I think that says a lot about where this tournament is. I really want this team to freaking win this thing because we should be the best baseballing nation in the world. We literally invented the sport. I feel like Great Britain right now, where they invented soccer and they can't win a World Cup to save their lives. We haven't won one of these things, and it'll be over 10 years when the next one starts. That's frustrating. I think it's a good thing that I'm frustrated because that means this tournament is doing something right and getting us fans to care about it. You got anything else before we get out, Luis? Yeah. Feel that. Well, good news is the Yankee preview is dropping in a couple days, which more disappointment coming, baby, over the next 6 months. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll be back later at some point this week. Got the previews dropping, and then season kicks off. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Peace out.